George Kilpatrick Inspiration for the Nation, celebrating people we feel good about, the positive achievements of African Americans from all walks of life, people we feel good about. Here's a brother who we have not visited with for a while, people we feel good about, JT Houston. He is a digital creator, personal trainer, better known in social media as Mr. Spread Love. Every day you can find him giving you some positive daily affirmations that begin with, hey. But there he is. And so, JT, it's after Thanksgiving. We probably on our last breath of leftovers or last day of leftovers. What isn't left over, though, or what we hope isn't left over, is all the turkey stuffing, mashed potatoes, macaroni and cheese, collard greens, sweet potato pie that we have consumed, bro. So this is interesting because the end of the year is always a time, JT, where we think about what it is that we want to do for our body. We want to renew. And it's also the worst time of year because there's a party just about every week where all of the things that you might be trying to cut back on might be there. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about your own personal journey and pivot during the pandemic. You had to make some new changes in your life. And behind you, by the way, is an evidence of that. So we'll get into that. And also your own personal transformation as a human here on this here earth, especially as a brother, and particularly around notions of masculinity. So I hope we'll get into all of that today. But first, I think first and foremost, JT, let's talk about food because, that's near and dear to my heart, as I have roller coasted up and roller coasted down, and now I'm roller coasted back up, and I'm on my way down. Let's talk about it, brother. And by the way, JT and I have trained and worked out together for many years, and he's what's that song? He's seen the best of me, but he's also seen the worst. Of me. So let's go. What you want to talk about, brother? Let's go. Let's talk about this is Turkey Day weekend. What you want to do, brother?
Yeah, listen, I did not partake in the traditional
gluttonous.
I couldn't do it. Mostly because I set some very high goals for myself this year.
Right.
This is the year of follow through and consistency in all facets of my life. So just like I always do most holidays, I had my one plate with reasonable portions, and that was it for me. But that was
it. Reasonable. So, but you do. So what do we do if we already have consumed and we are still full?
So one of the things you can do is to start immediately. So oftentimes we'll say, well, when the new year comes,
in the new year, right?
Yeah, we're not waiting till the new year. I'm living in my season, and the things that I talk about now is living in the now. So you have the opportunity now to do things and take the steps. So one of the things you can do is very simple. If you're in a cold climate like most of us are, if you're on the East Coast, it's cold.
East Coast cold,
yeah. Get to a gym, right? Get to a gym and start with the basics. Treadmill, stepper, walking, just get your body in motion. All right. Now this is for the beginner. If you're a little bit more advanced, I would recommend.
Stop right there. You glancing over. This is important for people because, we got more holidays coming up. So I like what you said. You said treadmill, and how long on the treadmill now I'm going to tell folks, you said treadmill, you introduced me to the stepper, and I think the stepper is so much more
effective.
I really love the stepper. And I think that I remember my sister told me she got on there one time. She said, that ain't no joke. And it really isn't. It really isn't. So whether stepper, treadmill, what's the other one?
You got the elliptical.
Elliptical, yeah.
So if it's a tier from easiest to the hardest one, but more effective, stepper will be on the top of the list as far as like the challenge of it.
Right.
Treadmill will be the easiest, elliptical depending on how fast you go. I guess those two can vary between the two.
Right.
Now that's simply because of the resistance. If you If you're going on a flat surface and it's just like a walk, you just don't want to go outside, you keep it on flat. On the treadmill, ideally, you want to get your heart rate to, I would say 120. On average, it's about 120. That's heartbeats per minute. Now, that can vary. So that's a low intensity, steady state workout. So it's like, I'm just walking. I'm smooth sailing. Now, these will vary for you. Use the monitors on the machine. Ideally, you would get a trainer to actually walk you through and explain some of this stuff. So I'm just kind of glazing over it. So if you're going to power walk on a treadmill, you know what your version of a power walk is. This is my recommendation. Always put the treadmill on a slight incline, meaning if 0 is the dead flat, you want to go at least a 3 on an incline. Why? Because we engage more muscles. Our calves engage more, our quads, our glutes, and our hamstrings will engage walking up a hill than they will going flat. So the more muscles we engage, the better it is for our activity level, better for our muscle contraction, higher engagement for the muscle contraction, more calories burned over a period of time. Now, the reason the stepper is so effective, because it's simulating you going up stairs for GK started with 5 minutes and was struggling, to now like a 20 to 30 minute workout. Now, in that time, depending on the speed, you can burn anywhere from, in the 20-minute period, you can burn anywhere from 100 to 600 calories, depending on the output. Now, that is vastly different than if you're on a treadmill. A treadmill is going to take a lot more work. Even if you're walking on an uphill, since most people do the thing where they cheat and hold on, you're losing 30% of activity just by holding on. That means your arms aren't moving, so your heart rate's not pumping that blood because you're holding on. Even with the stepper, if you hold on, you can bend over. It don't matter what you do, those muscles are engaged.
That's true.
So one of the recommendations I would have, this is what I encourage you to do. Outside of talking about all the options, I would encourage anyone to get to a stepper or a set of stairs. If you have a home with stairs,
right,
on your flights, this is my encouragement for you all. Get 200 steps a day. That's going up, and I'm not counting down. I'm only counting the up.
Okay, so up, down doesn't count. So just
no.
So let's say if you have 10 steps, you go up 10 times, that's 100, and you go for another. So go 10 steps 20 times. Let's make it easy.
And on average, just doing that simple activity can burn anywhere from 100 to 200 calories in a very short time, 20 minutes. So you do that consistently enough, you got a full workout where you're burning calories. And the reason why I say steps, because more muscles are engaged going on an incline than they will ever be going flat. That's why I don't always just recommend walking for people, because no one really walks fast. You can get it walking. We're talking about effective and immediate.
Seems to me like walking is more just movement and maintenance. And a lot of people are, by the way, talking to JT Hughes and George Kilpatrick, Inspiration for the Nation. We're talking about that this is part of, and JT's a digital creator. We'll get to some of that stuff as well and how he's influencing hundreds of thousands of people every day. But I know him best.
700,000. Huh? I said we up there 700,000.
I said hundreds of thousands. Yes, hundreds. So you want to be specific, 700,000. Okay. So, but I know him mostly from training and working out. And so I wanted to give you, those of you watching and listening, some tips, especially since we've had a week of, dare I say, gluttony, if you will. But you got to allow yourself some slack, right? I mean, the thing is, you can't be all... you can't be, and the exercise is one piece of it, right? You can't be just all one way all the time, but exercise is a part of it. But everyone says, and you remind us, that 80% of your weight loss is going to be in the kitchen not in the gym.
Not in the gym.
80%. So basically, what you eat is what's going to make the difference. Yeah, and the exercise is for the toning, the cardiovascular, for your health. But for weight loss, you got to monitor those portions. And you're like, now you can't go by JT because he doesn't like to eat like the rest of us. We like to eat. He don't like to eat. So that's the issue. But anyway, JT, go ahead.
Yeah, so I like food. It's just that now I'm more conscious of it, because I honestly do think of longevity. I think of legacy. I think of creating a family. I'm very like now, especially these past few years, it's been more about, you know, maintaining a high level of activity. Well, I know that I can't continue to do certain things if my joints are inflamed, if my stomach is inflamed, if I'm sore. So I started researching more about what keeps those things from happening. What keeps your bones actually strong, not milk. I know the thing of what we heard. It's not about drinking milk or getting it. That's a whole nother story, but it's about what foods actually cause us to maintain those things where we don't have bone density loss over time, and what's going to keep it strong. So the more I research, the more I realize, wait, this is all food. Like I can work out all day long and I can still start gaining. I can be gaining weight, gaining excess body fat over time because I'm putting the wrong foods. And a lot of us over time, we think we know what the right food is, but then we start to slowly realize, wait, I'm not losing any weight. I'm not gaining any muscle mass. Like something's wrong here. And the more you take a self-assessment and be honest with yourself, because you know what I normally hear as a trainer, I don't really eat that bad. I don't eat that bad. I don't eat that much.
Right.
But we know.
So post Thanksgiving blues, we're gonna start small. We're gonna do some walking, treadmill, go to the gym. What else are we gonna do? Because that's on that side. But then but you're telling me that the gym is just one piece of it. What about the food piece?
This year, I always talk about elimination and addition, right? Okay. So we are eliminating this year. I know we've talked about this before. Eliminating processed foods, especially processed meats.
Okay.
Why? Because we already know. We know that there's carcinogens in the meat that we eat, which is very toxic for us. We don't want our body to be completely toxic. I know there's some things we can have here and there, but processed meats. What are processed meats? Bacon's processed, sausage is processed, hamburger patties are processed. Anything you're getting from a grocery store that's in a package, in a can, those things are typically processed. So,
like for example, I have a favorite coffee shop, and they have like a turkey sausage thing, and you're saying you ditch that sausage, bro. That's what you're saying. You're saying limit these kinds of things because those, especially sausage, because there's a whole lot of stuff in that. So you want us to eliminate processed foods. You want us to drink more water. You want us to limit or eliminate processed or white sugar.
Yes, refined sugars and carbohydrates.
And carbohydrates, that's like everything, bro. What are you talking about?
Well, that's back in the day, I would say like when my grandmother would bake things fresh, you found out that bread had like 4 ingredients. And if you read it in the grocery store, it has like 20. And you're like, well, what is all this extra stuff? And then I learned quickly that those are just preservatives.
Right.
We want things to last long. We want it to satiate us. They want the sugars on the tongue because it makes you want more. Like those are things that like, it's like all food is, we're being advertised to as far as what we eat mostly instead of us actually having anything nutritious.
So if we do those things, you say that we will be back on track.
Well, that's the elimination portion. What should we have more of?
Yeah.
Obviously, we want to get more water. All right.
More water.
We have to flush out our system constantly. And I'm not talking about tea or coffee or juices or soda. I'm just straight water to actually flush.
In fact, you didn't even say eliminate juices.
Well, yeah, those are processed, G.
You didn't mention that because I think people are confused about that because juices don't have sugar. They're healthy. They're not added sugar, but they pack on.
So here's the trick. Juice does have sugar. Juice is not healthy. If you want, eat the fruit, drink the water. You should not be going anything that says, now there are some places that do cold pressed juices.
Yeah.
There are things that are non-pasteurized juice. Remember, pasteurization is a process in which it is heated up. Those sugars intense. So you are getting a ton of sugar from your pasteurized orange juice, apple juice, any juice you can imagine. If it says pasteurized on it, it is adding an excessive amount of sugar. Even if it says natural or no sugar added, that is legally they can say it, but that is sugar. Those sugars are being added into it. So those are things we want to watch out for. Juice as well, but water is going to be our friend.
Add water, yeah.
Water. We want to make sure our whole foods. So we can research whole foods. What is that? Single ingredients foods. Go to go to your butcher if you got one locally. That is one ingredient that you can cook yourself. All right. We got to get closer to cooking things ourselves. Fresh fruits and vegetables. Wash your vegetables. Remember, we're taking in those pesticides. These are all things we have to think about now. So fresh fruits and vegetables, greens. You want things that are highly water soluble. Your melons, your watermelon, your oranges. All of those things have high water content, which we need to take in order to process and eliminate the things that we're eating on a consistent basis. You got to think of, you want to keep your insides lubricated in order to process and move. High water soluble, high soluble fibers in our diet. That's how we process, especially in the Black community, where the fiber content that we take in most of our food is very low traditionally to the, our comfort food that we eat. But we need more of that. So you want more colorful, vibrant foods on your plate than dead carcass. You want to eat life to promote life. Even the way we traditionally would eat greens, right? We cooking them down so we lost the nutrients. The more vibrant we eat, the better and the more healthy.
But for example, I'm sure that many family had collard greens that mama cooked for 4 hours. Right.
Yeah. No nutrients left.
Nothing left. Basically, it's just, I don't know what you call that, but they don't have to cook for 4 hours anymore, bro.
No, we did a cooking class a few years ago, GK, and you can saute collard greens, and it's a light saute, and they're going to be just as good.
My good friend, I can't think of. I said my good friend, then I'm not going to mention her name, but now I feel like I should call her out. But this is what she says. She takes organic collard greens, and she will use rice wine vinegar to break them down, and then they make they're raw and they're raw and they're tender from doing it that way, and so those are some good suggestions. I mean, we're basically trying to have longevity, but healthy longevity, right? And people, when they think of greens, you can add greens to everything, right? If you like smoothies, if you like, now I just said juices, but we're talking about you make it yourself juices, right? Yeah. So smoothies, you can add greens to if you like eggs in the morning, add some spinach or kale or whatever it is to your eggs or whatever. And so there's always I don't want to call it secret, but there's ways that you can get that nutrition. Talking with JT Houston, digital creator, personal trainer, and he's a positivity influencer. Positivity, Mr. Spread Love, George Kilpatrick Inspiration for the Nation. We are here just getting some tips because many of us likely overindulge this holiday, this Thanksgiving day, and so this Thanksgiving weekend. And so, by the way, JT, say happy birthday to Amina. Her birthday was yesterday. Or is it today? No, it's today. Amina. It's today, 27th. Let me get it right. Let me get it right. She's 22 today, 23. I forgot how old she is. She's 23. She's 22 now. But
happy birthday, Amina.
So all right. So we're gonna walk. We're gonna either walk in our house up and down 10 steps. 200 steps. Only counting the up version of it, right? And then we're going to drink more water. We're going to eat whole foods, single ingredient foods, and we are going to eliminate processed foods, added sugars, processed food. So what am I doing with that sweet potato pie, banana pudding, and peach cobbler I got in the refrigerator?
Throw it out.
You bugging.
Listen, we got to go hard. I had this conversation with my grandma, who's one of my best friends. Shout out to Mary Jane. Mary Jane is my best friend. So listen, this is the thought process of our community. I'm only speaking on our community, G. Grow up with you don't waste no food in here. So they would, and then it would be load up the plate with way
Right.
too much stuff. But
Right.
I know now where that came from, right? But our culture became, you don't want to go without. So we eat everything because you don't know when the next meal is coming. That's the
Right.
old mindset. But now it turned into every meal we sit down, we're eating. Remember the whole 5 to 4, what is it, 3 to 4 square meals a day?
Yeah.
That's
Well,
overeating.
well,
We
because
eat,
we had different jobs then. Now we're all sitting in front of a computer, right?
yes. So we have to cut that. I live by a 2 meal a day max. I don't eat more than twice a day. Some days I
Right.
eat once, but it's the calorie content of what I need for my body. Like I can eat if I eat 3 meals a day at the rate, even with training and being active, I can start to gain excess amounts of body fat because it's just too much for my body. So I pay attention to those things.
Yeah, one of the things that might be helpful for people, and again, you're talking to somebody who's the roller coaster. I ain't lying. I've been on the roller coaster, right? But if you listen to your body, right, instead of saying it's 6 o'clock in the morning, whatever time you eat, 7, 9, most people between 7 and 9, eat breakfast or late. If you listen to your body, you may not even be hungry at that time. So try this for the week. Try to eat only when you feel hungry, not just because it's noon and you're supposed to eat it's lunchtime, not because it's 6 o'clock, you're supposed to eat dinner. What if you ate for maybe try for 2, 3 days? I'm only gonna eat when I'm hungry. Now does that mean I have to do it too since I'm suggesting it, JT?
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
don't mean that I gotta do it too, right?
It
I'm
means you
just
got to
giving
do it
y'all
too.
suggestion. Why I gotta do it? I gotta do it too. Do I have to do it too? Do I have to do all right. So let's for the next let's today's Sunday. We ain't counting today because y'all just got this. But tomorrow, Monday and Tuesday, let's see, Monday, Tuesday, for the next 2 days, just to try it out. Only eat when you are hungry. Not just because. Just be only when so you gotta feel like the stomach is growling hungry, right? That's when you eat. And
That's
not
it.
before that. Not
That's it.
before that. Only when you feel that, okay, it's time for me to eat. And see how you feel and see what difference that makes. Basically, what we're trying to do is get us out of the habit that the clock shouldn't dictate I gotta eat. You
Your
know what?
body.
My body should dictate when I gotta eat. And because there's a lot of different theories about eating, right? People do intermittent fasting, people do the 6 meals a day, people do all kinds of things. But we're basically giving you a taste of what could be. All right. So are we good? We good with the health and fitness part of our
Yeah,
conversation? We
yeah,
ready
yeah,
to
yeah.
pivot and shift?
I mean,
All
yeah.
right.
There's always more.
Here we go. George Kilpatrick Inspiration for the Nation, JT Houston, digital creator, personal trainer, and positivity influencer. We'll get that side of the story when we come back. This is Inspiration for the Nation. George Kilpatrick Inspiration for the Nation. Welcome back. We are talking with JT Houston, personal trainer. He is a digital creator and a positivity influencer. He's also a friend. And we're talking about health and fitness. So it's after Thanksgiving. This is the first Sunday after Thanksgiving. We are probably feeling a little full and overstuffed. So going forward, we're going to drink more water. We're going to eat more single ingredient foods. And we're going to walk, exercise, and do more movement to get ourselves on track starting now. And we're going to try something new for the next couple of days. We're only going to eat when we're hungry. Only when we're hungry. So that's going to be a challenge just for the next 2 days and if you want to go longer, do that. But I'm only committing to 2 days. So I'm not going to make you do that. But JT, he and I met years ago. And we've been hanging out ever since. And he's watched me on the roller coaster, up, down, all around, and I'm good. But you have done some different things. You've evolved as a person, as a business, and that was all part of what happened during COVID. So let's talk about that piece, JT, and how you have had a personal evolution in your own life and what that has meant for you as an individual, and how your life has ultimately changed because you've made some decisions by pivoting. Talk to me.
Well, I would say now about 15 months ago it's been now, a year and some change. Um, I just, I kind of just was kind of over the way life was going in a sense, not in a way of like, I'm just unhappy with me. I was just unhappy as a person, internally, externally. And I was just trying to find more outlets. I didn't have any outlets that because of, I just felt like I didn't have outlets. So I said, you know what? I just recently started therapy again. And instead of having this wave of kind of feeling like I'm on a path that I'm not happy with, I said, let me do something different.
But can I pause
About
you for a moment before you
Yes.
continue? And you were talking about the therapy, because I wanted to hone in on something you said, if we could just back up just a little bit, because you said
Yeah.
I was unhappy inside and outside, but from the outside looking in, it never seemed like you were not happy. So can you
Yeah.
help us walk that line? Because oftentimes what we're going through internally, uh, we don't show to people because
Yeah.
we're hiding it. So talk to me about that, and then go back to how you evolved. Go.
Um, well, I guess as far as like what was going on or people not seeing it, it's like, well, who do you trust? I started to feel like I didn't have anyone close enough at that and that during certain periods. Like I got you. I know I can call on GK. But I mean like the type of thing that I was dealing with, I didn't think of that anyone would fully understand because the outside looking in is this guy is doing it. He's successful. He's doing the things. It's always love and positivity. But I felt like I felt empty, and I knew it wouldn't lie in anyone else. I knew I had to figure it out for myself. So some of the techniques I had from therapy were affirmations, and I looked at affirmations, I guess, differently than the expected, right? So what I did with my affirmations originally was I would say them in the mirror. It's the old thing I would do, and then I realized probably like a week out of me doing the affirmations daily to help me, I said, the best dialogue that I'm going to hear today are the things that I say to myself. And I would say that to myself every day. The best dialogue I'm going to hear today are the things that I say to myself. And I would say those in the mirror. And then I would go down my list of affirmations and I would look me in the eye, which I realize is hard for a lot of people. And I would do that over and over and over
How
again.
did that feel? Did it feel unnatural?
At first, it was hard to even utter the words that I needed to say. So I would have different prompts and reminders each day. But then over and over I would do them. And then I started doing different ones each day. And then the more I did it, the more I became comfortable with it. And I said, there's some days when you don't feel like it. I said, you know what, let me record my affirmations. And since this phone is literally a reflection of me anyway, let me just put them on the phone and then I can look back at them so I don't have to think of new ones tomorrow. I can just say the same one. That's originally how my first this gets into the content, right? So the things that I needed to hear, I had to say. I couldn't wait for the world to say them to me. So I started creating what turned into my first initial videos, me talking to myself. They were just affirmations. They were dialogue. Then it became internal dialogue. Things that I know I needed to hear, I would say to myself. So what comes across in a lot of my content now is people are like, it looks like you're talking to me. And I've been through that, or it's like it's real personal because I had to get extremely comfortable having dialogue with myself. A lot of us have trouble alone and speaking to ourselves, or we feel like we can't be ourselves around other people. And that's partly because we're not comfortable with ourselves. I had to become really, really comfortable being alone. One, two, being able to have dialogue with myself and tell myself the things that where I'm messing up, A, and then B, the things that I need to work on. And C is uplifting myself with the things that I know I wanted to hear at the moment. So I would say those things to myself, and that became content. Now the change was when I started posting them.
Okay.
So
And when you say change, what do you mean by change?
change as far as like how social media went. I didn't know anything about posting content or how to post. Now I have been doing different things, as you would say, over the years because I've
Right.
always been a positive, intentionally positive person. But the shift became like, where people start sending me messages and I'm responding like, oh man, I really needed this today. And those words resonated. It's like, I needed this. Well, I'm thinking to myself, I needed it for me, which is why I did them. And I needed some accountability. So to create additional accountability, I started posting the videos. And that now became probably over 700,000 followers across all platforms. So yeah, so that's the start. That's the evolution of where I am now.
And you decided you were going to become more positive as when you say more positive than you already were, or a positivity influencer. Like, explain.
The goal was never about anyone else. So this was all about self. So it was be more positive towards myself. You know how often we are hard on ourselves when we don't reach a
Right.
goal, when we don't, we don't accomplish the thing, and whatever the thing is, I'm like, all right, I can't put others before me in a way that tears me down while I'm uplifting others. And I spent so much time giving my time and energy and effort to others and I wasn't giving it to myself in that same way. I had to flip that. I had to give it to me first and then give it to others. Now, what happened was I filled my cup so much that I had an abundance to give to other people now. But it's never going to be put others before yourself. I know we think that, but logically it doesn't make sense, because if we're empty, we don't have anything to give to others. We're giving a false representation of that energy. So I started giving it more to myself and then creating content on a regular basis. And yeah, that's what the change. The change was making sure that I gave myself what I know I needed and not just the afterthought.
What has been the result of that change for you in your life? By the way, talking to George Kilpatrick, Inspiration for the Nation, talking to JT Houston, digital creative, personal trainer, and positivity influencer, about the decision you made. And it sounds like that decision was to focus on you so that you could be a better you. And the result of that is a growing social media presence where you have some pretty famous people. You don't have to name them, but if you choose, you can, who are finding your content and telling you that you're doing some good stuff. You can name them if you want.
I won't name them, G. I'll tell you more off camera. But
Yeah.
yeah, I have a decent following of celebrity. And the reason I say no, because even though they're celebrity, I realize quickly they're just like you and me.
Right.
You know what I mean? They just have more eyeballs on them at any particular time.
But how humbling is that you have people who have a lot of eyeballs on them having eyeballs on you?
I don't know. It feels normal, and I say that meaning that I'm learning over this particular journey in my life to just everyone should be accepted as they are, whoever. I don't care if you're here or seemingly here in the eyes of others, or your Joe Schmo standing around hanging out. I'm going to treat everybody with the same level of respect and positive energy. So it's exciting to be like, oh man, it's like for somebody to send you a DM or like, thank you, please keep posting stuff like that you just saw on television or you saw in a movie. That's exciting to me. But ultimately, they're still just people.
Yeah. So yeah, you say that now, but I don't trip. You it's pretty exciting. It's pretty exciting to have people.
Yeah.
But why is it important for you to be getting the kind of messages that you're getting? Because it's not even about the celebrities so much, because you are getting people who write you to say how much, like, share the story about a particular listener, viewer, who basically said you saved their life.
Oh man, I'll share. I got so many of those. These particular messages are important because, as you know, I lost my brother to suicide, so I'm an advocate for suicide prevention. And when I get those messages from I got one today. So, it's holiday season, people are feeling alone. I post content with intention. Like my intent is, I know how I felt in those moments, so I would never want anyone else to go through the feelings that I've felt. So I recently, and I probably receive a few of these a week, received a message of thank you. I really needed the message, and it saved my life. and they proceeded to go on a story of what had happened. I won't share the story, but what I will share is that they were on the verge of leaving this earth. And this particular individual, someone sent them my video. And I think in the video, I talk a lot about, like, even if no one knows, like, if no one knows what you're going through, you would leave a space on this planet where, you'll be missed. And sometimes we think we won't be missed by anyone, when we're in the middle of whatever we're dealing with. So the message was very, very long message, but in short, it just said that I realized that I would have, this just doesn't end it for me. It also starts a chain reaction of stress and trauma for others. Excuse me. So, yeah, and I receive those a lot. So it's definitely meaningful for me to continue, because those are the messages I get. And I'm talking like maybe 100 messages every day now.
Why do you do it?
Because I feel like this is fulfilling a purpose. Like, I feel like I have a reason for being here now. Not that I didn't know for sure. We're all kind of figuring it out throughout life. But I mean, like, this is a way. I know there's probably still multiple ways for me to make an impact, but I want to truly make a real huge impact while I'm here. And I want to do it by being positive, shifting a narrative that we can be uplifters of our communities, of our world, if we decide to, be intentional about our words and our actions and our day-to-day experiences, and share those with others in order to help them, help guide them through life.
Are you more intentional now? Like, how have you grown? How have you overcome past mistakes? Have you always been where you are today?
No, I think mentally, like, my goal, I think early on I lived by the fake it till you make it. So even if I wasn't happy, I'd smile. And then even if I wasn't as knowledgeable about something, I would, you carry it like but deep down you have those insecurities. You're like, I don't know enough. So now with what competence builds confidence, I've become a lot more competent in the things that I'm talking about, based off of the experiences that I've gone through. And that helped build my confidence. And that kind of shines through in the content, because I'm not talking from a place of, I'm figuring it out. Even though I'm still learning and growing, I share as I learn and grow.
I wanted to give you some space to talk about the experience we had we've traveled on your birthday. Yeah. And I want to talk about that because I think that was significant.
Yeah.
In the kinds of the crazy world, the crazy things I did in the other country. And let's talk about what the process we did to get me to do something crazy. I thought it was crazy.
Can we talk about it?
We can. We can talk about it. I want to talk about it. That's why I'm inviting you, because I think this will be helpful to other people. So you can, by the way, talking to JT Houston, digital creator, positivity influencer, we're talking about, and he's also a personal trainer, but we're talking about the digital creation piece of his world. And yeah, but maybe they don't want to hear about what I did.
That's okay. We can talk about it.
Yeah. All right. So I
think it's good.
All right, let's talk about it. So,
all right. So I'll give some perspective to what we're talking about. So I said, let's talk about a journey. I'll talk about this. Every year I set a new expectation for myself, and I love to explore cultures and countries and do more things. For my birthday, I wanted to be around people that I love and care about, and do the same in turn. So one of the trips I took on my 5-country trip, 5 countries in 1 month, humble brag,
Right.
So for my birthday, I wanted to go to as many countries as I could. So I did 5 countries in 1 month. One of the countries, George Kilpatrick Inspiration for the Nation, attended with some other friends and family, right? So I am very adventurous. I like to try new things, and I love to experience them with people I care about. George, I didn't know he had never done any of the things we were getting ready to embark on. I had done these things before, so nothing was new for me. it was a new thing to do it with them. So the first thing we did was, what was the first thing? Zip line.
Zip line.
So George said, I've done this before, but not to this degree. So the cool thing about this zip line, this was a pretty easy one because it wasn't too high, but my man George overcame his fear. So that one was like, it was like a good one because it inched him in and it wasn't too crazy. Then the next was the ATV.
ATV, yeah, ATV.
The next was the ATV. And this was obvious. This was easy to just jump on, right? Because you're like, I know four wheels, I know motors, I can move. So he successfully got through that one. We had a few bumps in the road, literally,
right. Literally.
But he successfully completed that one. So that was a fear, but he had overcome it. Because I don't know if that one so much was a fear, you just had never done it.
No, it wasn't. I wasn't afraid to do that.
Yeah. So that the first one was a fear. The second one was like, all right, I can do this. It's a crazy terrain, Yeah. But then
very, very different experience, I would say.
Yeah. So then we go to our third. Now the third
this is crazy.
Was the most challenging. Visibly, I can see it on his face. I wish we could insert some video of this, G. But George is jumping
maybe
into.
Maybe we can.
We're gonna try to get it in there.
Okay.
So jumping into what's called a cenote, which is a cave, underwater cave, in Mexico. It's very clear water in the bottom. Some of them different ones. I've been to about 20 in my lifetime, but some of them have lights in there so you can see the water and the color, and there's fish, but it's very pure, clean water, essentially underground. Now, this particular one, we're about 50 feet in the air. You could jump into the cave. There's 2 holes. They got stairs and everything. Most of us just going, jumping, and coming through. Well, George had never done this before. So as I'm on my second and third jump, just going past, I noticed that George has still not jumped in the water.
Right.
So now all the friends are like coming back to huddle. And we're like, yo, G, come on, G, you got it. At first, he kept getting ready. We were up there for about an hour trying to get you to like take the first jump.
I was frozen in fear.
Frozen. How did you feel at the moment, like during those moments? Like, how did you actually feel getting ready to?
I just didn't know what to expect. And it's the thing in my mind was one of our friends from Utah who I met. We had met some other folks because the place was an hour from where we were. And they was like, you don't want to go home and regret not trying this. That was the only thing that I could remember. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to go home and regret not trying this. You don't want to be riding home and think, damn, I could have done this. I could have done this. So the moral of the story is I ended up doing it.
It took a while. He jumped. It was amazing because everybody, now mind you, at this particular point, there's like 50 people surrounding him.
All these little kids are coming, and I needed complete silence. I had 50 people shut up so I could do this. He
literally told them, stop, shut up.
And then I finally jumped, and that was wow.
Yeah, you hear the
cheers. What people don't
like
realize, it's not cliff diving, but it feels like it to me because it's not like there's a lot of space between that the hole and the bottom. There's a lot of space. It's not like you can look down and like, ooh, man, so.
But you overcame that.
Yeah, and I think part of what I'm hearing you say, and for all of us in that moment, is there are times in our lives where we have to pivot. We have to jump. And that was a time for me where I had to jump. And I actually use that metaphorically in situations where it's calling for me to do something that I'm afraid to do. And I think of jump. And so it's been good since then. Yeah. It's been good.
Now, the last thing on our list was parasailing.
Oh, I forgot about that. Right? I forgot about that.
By far the highest George has ever been
God.
in his life from a boat with the boat. It's pretty cool because you take the jet ski out to the boat, you get attached on this harness. George and I are in the thing, and the big parachute, it slowly takes you up further and further in the air, and you're literally like 1,000 feet up above the hotel height. And how did it feel when you're actually up there, though?
Well, I feel like, I'm up here now, but the funny thing, JT is talking the whole time. I'm like holding on for dear life. He's like, blah, 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 blah. And he's live video, and we're up here, and we're up here. And but it felt very peaceful, very calm. And wow, I never thought I would ever do anything like that.
Yeah, that was a dope experience, man. I love that. It was weightless, and it was super quiet up there.
Right. I don't know how many feet we were up there. It was crazy.
Yeah, that was above the hotel. Yeah, it was high.
It was very high. And you're just in the water. You're just way
up. In the water. And you can see everything. I don't know how much you remember from looking down.
How did it feel for you as a positivity influencer to see me do that?
Oh, man. I was on cloud 10 because I'm someone, I recognize this about me now, that I'm someone that I'm excited when other people have great experiences and overcome something or reach a goal. That's partly why I realized why I train, is because someone else's success feels like my success. So I can rejoice in the fact that they reached it. So for you to overcome those things, I was happy because, you had a level of fear.
I had a lot of level of fear.
You had a healthy level of fear, and you just said, forget it, man. Let me just do this and, kind of see do it.
And I especially when I did the cenote, the cheering and all of that, that was a lot, because everybody was like, and even like the people who went on the trip with us that we didn't know, they were cheering. And the one lady was going to do it, and she turned around. She's like, nope, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to do it.
And then you did it, and then like, man, you want to encourage her now. You like, listen, if I do this, you can do it.
Yeah. So, JT, do you want to leave us with one of your, hey? First, before you do that, tell us how we can find you, Mr. Spread Love.
All right, you can find me on Instagram. I am Mr. Spread Love 1. No underscores, no hyphens, no nothing. Mr. Spread Love and the number 1. On Facebook, I am JT Houston. Just look for the largest follower account. I have to say that because some people have created fake pages, unfortunately. But JT Houston on Facebook. On TikTok, I am Mr. Spread Love 1. Mr. Spread Love 1 on TikTok, just like on IG. And on YouTube, please go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It is just Mr. Spread Love. And I post daily affirmations, more positive content, and travel vlogs will be on there. Also, some things that you guys will only have information about is the fitness content that will also be on there as well. So you can go right there. That's on YouTube.
All right. So give us an affirmation for today. This is after the holidays. I want to get back in shape, or I want to be better at whatever, or I want to jump. What's the affirmation for today?
I would say jump. All right. And I would say jump, fall, trip, stumble, however you need to get to the next step, but just take a chance. Oftentimes we wait for someone to hand it to us, walk us through it, or push us into it. But we have to realize that we have to do that ourselves. Like, you create what you want to create. And this is the year for you all, as you go into the new year, to take a step towards those things and those ideas that you've had for so long. We can no longer wait. No one's going to show up at your door and knock and say, you have won $1 million. You won $10 million. Sometimes no one's even going to affirm the fact that your idea is a good idea. You have to sometimes get in that mirror and say to yourself, I got this. It's going to be okay. I need to take this chance, because if you want to be a better version of yourself, you have to commit to changing. And I know oftentimes we say we're not going to change. Just think change this year is grow. You need to grow into the person that you want to be. And instead of waiting for someone to hand it to you, you have to go out and take those chances. So trip, fall, jump into the new version of you today. Brother.
That's JT Houston, Mr. Spread Love. And I tell you, it's great. This is brother born and raised in Syracuse, New York.
Yeah.
So you're a hometown kid.
Hometown.
Went to Nottingham High School. All
That's
of that.
Right.
So
that's right.
That's who he is to those who are from the Q's. All right, JT, Mr. Spread Love on all the social media platforms. JT Houston on Facebook. JT, good to see you as always. Inspiration
Appreciate
for the
you.
nation.